very situational. But and then Quinn, just in case they go like an 80 carry mid some or whatever, like a Lucian.
Hmm.
I don't mind playing Quinn into that. And then I still have that a lot of roam. Just how is the reason I'm picking these characters is like if I go to gank, I don't want to like get picked off. So like with Tristana, I can get away if their jungler jumps on me. With Corki, I can kind of like W away. So that's
Hmm.
kind of my mindset, I guess. They have good clear, they have good 1v1, and I can roam easily and get prio with their clears. I don't know. That's
Okay.
kind of like
Yeah, I mean,
the
we'll
way
kind
that
of
I'm
have to
seeing it.
see because I think like champs like Corki are definitely not good at roaming. So like you can roam with these
Okay,
champs if it's like a good roam, but generally like champs that are like good at roaming are ones that either like like Quinn that can get down the river really quick
right,
or champs with CC. Like if you're say LeBlanc, right, and you go bot, I think it's a pretty good chance you can get a kill because you've got a lot of CC. But
right.
like Corki, sure, he does have good wave clear, but he's not particularly strong early and does like take a while to get down bot and has no CC. But I mean, we can just like look at the game and see what
True.
you're doing because it
Yeah,
doesn't mean you should never roam on Corki. It just means you got to be kind of like careful, I suppose. Um,
yeah. I try to use package if I try to gank.
yeah, okay. Yeah, that's a bit different. Yeah, definitely you can gank with package. You still play quite a lot of champs though. Like, do you play all those champs pretty regularly or what?
Uh, all those.
Yeah, like the ones you listed.
Yeah. I've been playing since season 3.
Mm-hmm.
I was diamond in season 5,
Right.
and then ever since then, I kind of like quit the game seriously. I've only just been like, I just get to gold 4, I get the skin, and I leave the game.
Yeah.
So I'm washed up. I will say I'm very washed up. So I have a lot of experience just because I've played for, almost a decade or more now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel super comfortable with the at least Corki, Tristana, Zed specifically. He's my main. LeBlanc, I love her. TF and Quinn are kind of iffy. Echo and Yone kind of iffy, but they're just like very situational, kind of like on the side characters, just in
Yeah.
case.
Yeah, I would say like
I,
keep your champ pool to probably like five or less if you can, because that's like a
okay,
lot of different champs to master. Like I don't know if you went
right.
for something like what you're saying, like Corki, Tristana, Zed, LeBlanc,
LeBlanc,
TF, like
yeah,
that's probably fine. Even that could be too many, but I think like given that you've played for a while, it's probably fine. Like it's different than if you've just started the game. But I think like those other
right,
champs that are more niche, it's like you're probably not going to play them that much, so you're not going to get to practice them a whole lot. And it's just like they
right.
don't really add a whole lot, I feel like, that you're lacking. But like maybe we'll see, like based off how you play this game, like maybe you do need to
Yep,
change based on like your play style or whatever. So we'll
right.
just kind of see.
Vladimir, horrible lane for me. Like I
Yeah, it's
hate
it's
playing
rough.
against Vlad. Vlads are unpredictable, man.
Yeah.
Their damage is crazy out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's a really annoying champ, especially for Corki, because you can't really like pressure your lane at all. I feel like going for the cull might be a bit aggressive. Like normally you're going cull if you're versus I don't know, like I want to say like Galio or something that isn't really gonna threaten you in the early game at all because like obviously
Okay,
obviously like cull it gives you more scaling, right? But you don't want that to come like you don't want to start a scaling item and then end up scaling less because you missed too much CS because you can't actually contest, right? So
right.
like
Okay,
your common I'd say like Corki item starts are like depends like how greedy you want to be. I think like if you want to be super safe, there's like Dawn Shield, right? Like that is the Dawn Shield slash Corrupting Pot, those are two like max safety. And then there's probably
Okay.
like there's stuff like Tier or like Longsword, 3 potions. Both of these are kind of like mid tier. Actually, I'd probably it's like
Yeah, I usually
Longsword
go tier.
3 and then like Tier and then
Okay.
Cull. Like I'd say this is in terms of like the top one's the safest and this is like max greed. So in my opinion, I'd probably go Longsword 3 or Longsword refillable in this lane because it makes you like a bit stronger earlier and it still like helps with scaling. Like I don't think you need to go super hard on this, but in my mind the Cull's like not really good. And I'll show you something here. Generally, if you're like in a lane and your opponent forces you to CS with just abilities, that's like really rough because what that means is like one, you can't ever harass them back, right? Because you're using the ability to farm.
Right.
And two, it's like a long window where they can get to punish you. So, like, for example, in this case here, like, if you have to queue.
I didn't even get that.
Yeah, I know. But if you have to, like, queue to get this creep, what that means is, like, these next two creeps, he should, like, queue auto you on them. Which is, like, you kind of get
Right,
lucky, I
which he
feel like.
didn't.
Oh, yeah, like, here's an example, right? Like, your queue, or
Right.
maybe just came up. Let's see. Maybe it was up in time.
It's a pretty long cooldown, yeah, on level 1 now.
Yeah, so it looks like it's like just barely comes up after. So you like don't really want that because the thing is every time you use a cooldown, like your opponent's gonna look to punish. So I'd say like your ideal early game as Corki is like try auto or try CF with autos and like buy space with your abilities. Like if he comes up to Q you, you can like Q him back because at least then your cooldowns are synced. And
Okay.
also kind of teaches him that he can't just like hit you for free, basically, right? But at any time you're CSing with abilities, that's like you're really feeling pain, right? I think after six, like
Yes.
I'll just say here, like after six, you can CS with Q plus
ult.
like ult because like at that point you can like blow up the wave and you don't really have to interact anymore. But pre
Right.
six, like you really got to be more careful than that, I think, because this just looks like you know we're basically we're just like losing CS for no reason. And I'd say like another thing is to keep in mind like what your goal is. So like what is your goal in this lane? The nice thing about Corki is that Corki doesn't really win many lanes other than like a couple. So for the most part, your goal is literally just gonna be like farm as much as possible to six, and then like when you hit six, you can like play more aggro and then like rush first item basically like that. It's something like that, right? You're not really trying to trade back too much if they give you the opportunity to, like you can, but you're really not expecting to get anything done in the early game, I guess.
Right.
Okay, yeah, so like this is all fine. Also, another thing is that as Corki, so you might know this because you were diamond before, but normally whoever's pushing like has the advantage, right? Because they hit like level 2 first, they hit level 3 first, they've got more creeps, like all that sort of stuff, right? Now the nice thing about Corki is that like you actually have a fair amount of push. Like your Q pushes the wave, your E pushes the wave, and obviously you can order the wave. So in a lot of matchups, Corkis will actually just like spam auto attacks on the wave. And that way, like, even if the wave ends up like sort of pushing, a lot of the time you just have enough creeps that it doesn't actually matter, right? Like you just have so much control. So like anytime when he uses Q like this is like a 9-second window where he can't do anything about you just like spam autoing on the wave. So you see how you're kind of just like turning around in circles here? This is like,
Right.
this could be time where it's almost like relieving pressure off yourself in the future, because that way like the wave will never come under your tower. And like the nice thing about Corki is a lot of champs can't really push up here because it's quite scary. But like you always have your W. So worst case, if you get
Right.
ganked, like you can always live. But yeah, it's like same thing here. Like because you didn't abuse his cooldown, like allow yourself to push. Now the problem is like he's level 2 when you're still level 1, which again means you're like forced back and forced to CS with Q, right? So it's like the same thing again, which is
Oh, okay.
yeah. So I think like you're really trying to CS with autos a bit more than you can. I think also use downtime to just push the wave with autos. That's like Corki's only real threat in the early game is that he can push waves reasonably fast. Obviously, you need to be kind of careful, right? Like, you don't really want to push the lane under, say, I don't know, Zed's tower. But Vlad doesn't have, like, a lot of threat either. It's just, like, mostly farming and scaling. So I think you could definitely push a bit more. Okay. But yeah, I mean, mostly this is fine. Yeah, see, I like this way more. I like when it's like he like moves up on you, and then you just like trade into him.
Completely
basically.
missed that, but yeah.
Yeah, right. Like that, I think that would give you first strike gold. It would normally go like slightly more decent to you. Now it's maybe not the best because again, you don't have longsword or you don't have tier, so you don't actually have much trade potential. But
Right.
like, I think that's way better, right? It's like you traded your cooldowns, you kind of like defended yourself. You make it harder for him just to do that. And then like this thing here, like admittedly, you could probably prep the wave a little better to CS under tower. But I feel like most of the time on Corki, if the wave gets under your tower, it's going to be difficult to CS anyway. Like ideally,
Yeah.
you just don't end up in this situation. Because Like, let's say I just open the replay now. Like, I haven't watched anything. If I just pause this and see that Corki has gotten, what, like 15 out of, what, 24 CS or something? That looks like
In
really
3 minutes.
bad. So I'd be thinking,
Yeah.
like, you know, whether it's because of your items or your runes or your play, like, somehow we have to get more CS here. So I would say if you start different items, you play more aggressive and you, like, or not even more aggressive onto him. If you just, like, try not to CS so much with abilities, try and push the wave a bit more, we can probably get
Okay.
this a lot higher. And that's like, I mean, you know, this Corki scales like insanely well, right? So if you,
He's a monster.
yeah, if you get lots of CS, and actually that's one thing that's like real good about Corki is that because of the package, you have like lots of extra uptime on the map compared to other champs. So like, yeah, you can stay on the map a long time. Okay, now this, so yeah, this I don't really blame you for because you do have your jungler right next to you, so that's kind of like unfortunate. I wouldn't worry
That's unfortunate.
too much. Yeah. I feel like that happens like very, very rarely, so I wouldn't.
So I want to know here. So okay, so he shoved that.
Yeah.
Was that the correct? So I was gonna back, but then he
Um.
shoved in a cannon minion wave. So I was like, wait, it has a lot of minions and it has a cannon minion. I don't want to lose this. He's gonna shove again anyways.
Yeah, I would say this
So
is like you kind of have to base here after like clear this one, and then you kind of have to base. This is kind of like an unfortunate situation of just like one, you have like no sustain whatsoever, and two, like you took, you know, a lot of extra damage there. I think, like let's say, because remember you started like Cull Longsword. If you have like 2 extra pots here, you know you can pop these, or if you have like Tier, you have extra mana and another potion. Like, it should feel bad to give up a wave like this. And now, you can go back and be like, okay, you know, maybe we can know Rengar's topside, but honestly, like, given that your jungler's right there, you wouldn't expect this to happen. I think the main problem is just, again, like, the start is kind of making it difficult. I think if you, like, yeah, after this wave, if we have, like, biscuits, a pot, and, like, maybe tier mana, or just 2 pots with longsword, like, you can stay, pick up this wave, because you don't really want to lose, like, random waves like this on Corki, right? It just feels bad. You know, we're 26 CS at 5 minutes, so I guess, like, as an overall thing for you, I think, like, finding ways to stay in lane longer, slash, just, like, collect more CS, so this is, like, you know, more sustain from items or whatever, you know, runes, etc. Or even like TP if you need it, because like here, like it doesn't really matter that you've started Cull because you've just missed so much CS anyway, right? Like it's just never worth it. And I think also, like I don't know how much gold you based on. Let's see. Yeah, I guess you don't quite have enough, but I would, yeah, I'd probably not buy a pink here, honestly, and just buy a refillable. Because I think you're just really trying to stay in lane, like, as long as you can, in order to make sure, you know, you get those spikes. Like, you really don't want to be the one that's, like, just forced to base really early in the game. And normally once you get 6, like, that kind of just solves all your farming issues anyway, so you don't have to worry too much past that, but... yeah, like, getting better CS in the early game is much better. And I think, you know, the TP versus Ignite thing... like, TP is definitely more consistent, but I think Ignite is honestly fine. Like, it's in a way, Ignite can be a defensive summoner, because it kind of, like, dissuades people from fighting you, you know? And,
I just
like,
thought of his heal in
yeah,
a way
it's good
as well
Vlad too.
for his ult.
Yeah, yeah, so I don't mind it. Okay. Yeah, I think fights like this are probably fine, although you're not... okay, I think... yeah, let's look at this. So I think this is, again, it's kind of... it's almost like a product of what's happened earlier. So, like, if we look at this, right? You have very weak items because you have very little CS, right? And you're not level 6 because you missed a wave.
And he got level 6.
Yeah, if you come to this and you have, like, you know, 2 longswords and you're level 6, like, maybe you can actually win this fight. But the problem is you're just so weak for this. And I think, given that you don't have anything, you're probably thinking, like, okay, you need to leave this pretty early. Just, like, get out. I mean, honestly, you trade 1 for 1, so it's not the worst. But I guess just, like, realize how fucked you are, right? Like, you're just so far behind, and that's making the game hard. How much better
it could have gone.
Yeah, exactly. Like, this is maybe winnable. And, like, now, you lose this wave as well. So I honestly think, like, if we clean up your first 5 minutes, you're going to find the game just, like, a million times easier. Because this, yeah, it's like
I became a monster in this game. But
yeah,
yeah.
Imagine if you just started a bit stronger. Yeah. Okay. So Personally, this is like kind of up to you. These are decent wards, but I think it's better if you can pink this one and like place this one over a wall or on a camp or something.
Okay,
Just
so
because, yeah, like
pink dragon
or
bush
like
and then
yeah, just
yellow the top.
yeah, or like on the other side you can like pink this and ward here. Because I think well, it's up to you because like this pink is sort of useful versus Rengar, but at the same time, like if he goes around here, doesn't spot him, like there's lots of ways he can
Right.
still get mid. And I also think like this board is definitely useless versus Rengar. Like wards on camps are normally better, and just in general, like the further in you can put wards, the better. Like I'll just write that
Okay.
down, but like deeper wards are more valuable. But normally people still place a pink in the river, like here, because that normally keeps them safe. Like if you place all your wards up here and someone just walks to the river, then you still die, right? But yeah, normally
Right.
like place your pink close and then place your green wards away. Now this is like slightly greedy. So you're probably not gankable here given that Rengar died. But the thing is, if you place all your vision bot side, that means you need to hug
I
this side of the
played
lane.
top side of
Yeah,
the
like this
lane.
looks,
Yeah,
that is
I
like, if
noticed. Yeah.
Rengar's there, you're just dead, right? Or like you're
I
Wing away.
didn't even notice that.
Yeah. So that's like a really easy habit to or like I guess it's just like it's a small thing, but it like really fucks you. Like if it ever leads to a
Right.
death or like a base, it's horrific. And like yeah, all this time, if Rengar is here, you just lose half your health. So you're just like getting lucky basically that that doesn't happen. Okay. Yeah, like I think at this point you're doing fine. Like as long as you can keep your CS up, you don't really have any problem. I like the way the trading back, so no problems with any of this. One thing I'll actually quickly say, you know how we're just like talking about cleaning up the early game? Like obviously you can be greedy with items and stuff, but don't be afraid to just start with max safety. Because remember that the only time Corki is really weak is like pre-6, right? So if you get through that
Right.
period with lots of CS, like you're good. And now if you can get through that with more CS and you can be greedy, that's better. But if ever you feel like, you're losing stuff because you didn't start the safest option, then you should have just started the safest option. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But yeah, this all looks good. And
I feel like
CS.
it makes even more sense to go something but like max safety against a Vlad because that, I don't think it matters how many times I freaking try to trade with him. Like he's always gonna like out sustain me in lane.
Yeah, I think
So
this lane
it
you
would
could
make
definitely be
sense.
like longsword refillable or tier
Right.
or even like corrupting pot is fine too. Depends
Yeah,
like
corrupting pump.
yeah, it's like nice for mana if you feel like you can't start tier. But yeah, any of those would be solid. I just think like no matter what, you want to get through that early game with as much CS as possible. So however you manage that, like sure we could optimize it a little, but that's like 90% of the way there.
I don't know what that all was.
Yeah, that was strange, but this is all good.
Um, I want to know your opinion on so the difference between three pots and refillable. Like
Yeah.
I usually always go refillable because I'm
Mhm.
like, okay, it makes sense if I'm gonna spend money on pots. Might as well have infinite amounts for every time I go back
Yeah.
than three. It's like, what if I use three in one and then I come back and I don't have, and then I have to keep buying pots instead of just having the refill.
Yeah. So it kind of depends, like, how hard you think the early game is going to be. Because, like, obviously, if you can get away with refillable, that's better, right? Because, like you said, it's just, you don't have to spend any more money. It's really simple.
Right.
But if the early game's going to be really hard, I think starting Longsword 3 is better. And now the thing is, you can always, like, let's say you use two of these potions and you have one left, just sell your last potion and buy a refillable, you know?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like, normally you can just sell the last one. But I think like, to be honest, you should probably just start refillable. And then if you feel like it was too hard, maybe next time you start three in that matchup, sort of thing, right? But like refillable
Okay.
is so much better if you can get away with it. Okay, so here, get the package, we've got mana immune, gonna get most of that
Yeah,
wave.
I shove here and I go mid. Oh yeah, I went bomb.
Yeah, so this looks good. Like these guys are really low HP, and they're wave pushed up. Oh, she got execute. Okay. Yeah, I mean that's all good. I think you like get CS, you get back to your wave mostly in time. So no problems with any of that. This board, by the way, pretty much always useless. Like even against
Okay.
champs that aren't Rengar, like you pretty much never want to ward these bushes. You always want to ward either slightly further out. Like if you want to ward over this wall, you can even ward right here, and it just shows you like more of this area. Or if you're like in lane and you feel like you don't have time, even warding slightly outside the bush, like there, can be good.
Oh, okay.
Just because, yeah, like, I mean, look how little vision this gives you. You know, it just fucking, it
Right.
just sucks. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think you're in a pretty decent spot. As long as you can, like, keep CSing. Don't see any reason why you wouldn't be able to. Okay, we walked into some fights.
He ults out. Couldn't get him.
Oops.
Oh, I think. Oh.
Yeah, you got him. Okay, so one thing I think you should be a little careful of on Corki is that generally 1-for-1s are not super worth it. So the reason is that, like, if you think about it, just by the game going slow, Corki is like winning, right? Because you outscale your opponents. So they really need like to snowball to keep up with you because you farm really fast, you get first strike gold, you just like accelerate really quick. So obviously if you can get a kill and get out, like that's great. But at the same time, like let's just say you can't get this guy. If you just go back mid, like push in this wave and stop Vlad from getting it, it's probably better for you overall. You know, and even here, you're probably better off just like actually you don't really have a way out once you I guess maybe if you hadn't turned around. Like a 1-for-1's decent, especially because he flashed. So I guess it's like a decent enough outcome. But just like yeah, actually, I mean, well, if we just like look at this, right? Like Vlad got how much gold do you get from Rengar? You got 300 from Rengar, and Vlad gets 400 from you. Not to mention, like, the fact that you would lose, like, these waves mid too, right? So, yeah, I'll just write that down.
Big loss.
Yeah, generally, 1-for-1 is not worth it. You want just, like, clean kills or just, like, farm like a monster, right? Because anytime you die, remember that it's, like, not only the fact that you give them gold. It's like you lose XP, you lose farm time. Like this guy, he denies you a huge wave. Actually, let's see. Before this happens, like, okay, so like right now, how much gold does he have over you? So it's 4.5 versus 4.6. So he's 100 gold ahead of you, right? Like that's completely fine, given that you're playing Corki. But, so after this, after he gets that kill, comes mid, shoves this, and takes a plate. Okay, so what's it now?
Armor.
Yeah, now it's like a 500 gold difference. So like obviously that death was like really costly.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
And again, like, pretty much if you don't lose the game as Corki, you just eventually win. You know what I mean? It's like you outscale so hard that, like, as long as you don't, like, feed, you're eventually just going to be really strong anyway. And like you said, you ended up like a monster this game anyway, so...
Yeah, I did insane. Because I ended up having, like, full build pretty early on, I feel.
Yeah.
Because I can farm so easily.
Yeah, exactly.
Corki.
Okay. Yeah, this is all fine. Probably nothing really to talk about. Just kind of skim through this part.
Because I'm very sure I cannot 1v1 him.
Yeah,
like there's no way I can 1v1 a Vlad. There's just no.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm not even trying. I tend to be a very aggressive person. Obviously, because I love assassins. All I play is LeBlanc. Zed specifically, I have like 400,000 mastery points because I just love playing Zed. So I tend to be very aggressive in lane, try to look for those all-ins, all those 1v1s. But in this lane, no.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna keep it to myself.
Okay. So we're talking about mid-game now. I would say one like real important thing about the mid-game is the package timing. So normally you want to try like there's 3 things you can do with the package. It's basically like you can kind of like I guess I'll put a thing here. It's like you can either use it for super tempo essentially, which is like, you know, you pick up package and you just try and do as much shit as you can. You like farm mid, farm raptors, maybe even farm Krug. You just try and do like tons of shit, right? The other things you can do is like you can fight pretty much you can like fight objectives, so this will be like Barons, Dragons, Heralds, and the other thing you can do, I guess, is like roam to other lanes. So here, if I pause this right now, I don't really see any of those things. Like, there's maybe a Herald soon, but I doubt this is going to be started on spawn. And actually, it's still in a minute. Yeah, so it's like, this doesn't look that viable. And it's like, you're only going to miss like a couple creeps mid. You can maybe farm this, but you can farm this anyway. So this just looks like a massive waste of a package. And it's better off just to save it for drag or herald. Because like you can always just base like 30 seconds. Like what I normally do is I base 30 seconds before dragon spawns, grab the package, come on the map, and then just like fight them with it, you know? But here it's like you use your big package timing and just ends up being useless, right? Because it's like it's just like a hard time to fight, especially because like you're right, there might be a fight that happens here, but ultimately it's like sort of unpredictable, whereas like there will always be a fight for dragon, like every single time, you know?
Right.
So yeah, I honestly don't really care
Rengar
so
just...
much about the death, because like obviously the death is bad, right? But I really think missing the package timing is like huge. That's a guaranteed like fight win basically, and you just throw it away. I guess in terms of the death, I suppose like is you probably just have to W like right now, so that would be like the mechanical way to fix it. But also, just like looking at this, it's again, if you like look. So one thing that's really important in the mid game, right, is
I think the moment that you know how Rengar poked and then came back into the bush and jumped.
Yeah.
I was most likely
you're probably
hovering
looking
over
here,
bot
right?
lane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's like real important in the mid game though that you like see what your teammates are doing, because if we just like pause this, right? Like Jhin is recalling, Pantheon's in base, Seraphine is dead, so the only person that can help you is Hecarim, and like all 5 of them are alive. The only person you see that's not here is Vlad. So like Ezreal can be here, Rengar can be. So at best, or I guess at worst, it's like a 2v4, and at best, it's probably just a 2v2. And admittedly, you probably win 2v2, but it's probably better just to go like do the Raptors, or even go top. You know, maybe instead of going mid, you go like clear mid wave and then go top. Just like try and increase your farm, because this is like this kind of obviously if these guys are like overextended and they're low and like you've got teammates here, then they're dead, right? But the fact that you're kind of like chasing into no vision, it almost like screams desperation, but you don't need to be desperate. Like the thing is you're winning, right? Like you're gonna outscale and carry. So like you just don't need to do stuff like this. The thing is I think you're making good plays, but you're also making bad plays every time too. So it's just like making it hard for yourself, you know? But anyway, like yeah, that happens, and again, like as a result of that death, by the way, like you miss farm, right? Like you miss this farm, and your tower ends up dying because you're dead here too. So this is like another huge gold swing from your death, basically. Okay, we'll path back out on the map. Let me just okay, so path back out on the map. Farming side lane. Yeah, I think this is all good. Okay. Yeah, this is another kind of unnecessary death. So, like, yeah, you're pretty much... You want to push this up as far as you can safely.
Thought they would be up there, but
yeah,
I guess
given that Aurelia's not showing here, I think you just gotta leave.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, this one is not as bad as the other ones, because this one, at least you pushed the wave all the way in, so you shouldn't lose any farm. So it's not as bad. Like, I wouldn't say you want to die, right? But I mean, are you gonna lose a wave? Okay, I guess you do miss the wave anyway. Okay, it is still bad. Yep. I'll take it back. Okay. Okay, then this stage of the game, so in mid-game, another one of your goals is to just like max your golden XP, right? And what that means is like try not to share with other carries. So this game, the other carries are probably like Hecarim and Jhin. So it doesn't really make sense that if Jhin is here, that you're here as well. Like you're better off just walking a bot or like going top. Like basically you just want to find a lane that you can farm by yourself here. But here it's like all these waves are dying bot. Meanwhile you and Jhin are like, well, I guess you're just denying Jhin at the moment, you know? And like obviously the gold is better on you than Jhin, but there's a way we can do this to get farm bot and mid, you know? So like you should be bot here and Jhin should be mid.
Right, okay.
Yeah, that way you can both get farm. Yeah, so now you come down. This is fine. Oh, fuck, this guy's Rabadons. Okay, this guy's dead as fuck. They're probably doing Baron.
Yeah, I pinged it. Because I don't know why we had to have everyone there.
Yeah, I think Pantheon
me and Hecarim were there, and then I don't know why everyone showed.
Yeah, I think Pantheon ulting was... Because he's dead anyway.
Jhin, Seraphine, Pantheon.
Yeah, actually these two as well.
And the moment you're gonna see me pinging Baron, I'm like, oh my god, why did everyone show?
Yeah, that's kind of.
And then they got Baron. Yeah, I feel like me and Hecarim could have gotten it, and I feel like them just showing is what really gave them the key to just go
Yeah,
at it.
yeah. But I'll see. Not too bad. Okay, and like picking up package here, I think is probably fine because like they really want to siege with this Baron. So if you can like use package to kind of clear it out, it's fine. There's maybe an
Okay.
argument still for staving package for dragon. Like I'd say this one is more up to you. Like this one isn't as clear as the last one. If you, actually, to be honest, Ezreal's dead, so maybe they won't siege anyway. I don't know. I mean, I guess this guy's like really far up in inting, so
Yeah,
yeah,
he's fed. I feel like he has a shutdown currently.
yeah.
I don't think.
Yeah, he didn't have a
I
shutdown,
don't
but
know.
he still got a lot of gold off him, so yeah, I don't hate it. And these guys int as well, so this is all fine. Wow, that guy does a lot of damage. Holy fuck.
Yeah, that's Vlad. Doing Vlad things, I guess.
Okay. Guess we're just clearing, trying not to die. Guy gets soon, but you guys probably can't contest anyway. I mean, this is like not too bad for you, just like continuing to farm. I think you should be like, obviously if it's scary you shouldn't, but you should be looking for opportunities to like take camps more often. I think I've only seen you take like one Krug camp, but Corki's like does camps so fast. Like here
Right.
I'd be thinking, you know, given that that just happened, I think you're safe to just go for this, but instead it's like more time spent walking around. So I guess like maybe you didn't have that many opportunities this game, but I think, you know, just like looking to farm jungle camps more than you are is pretty
Oh,
important.
okay.
Just like try find opportunities when your jungler's like not there, or like, yeah, you know, just like times where you can grab them for free basically. This is all fine. Like here would be another one, you know, maybe like do this wave and go straight to wolves, because like there should be no one here. But yeah,
Oh,
like see
okay.
how it just ends up like wasted time. So yeah, basically
Yeah,
it's just
because
like,
I've always thought like I have friends who are junglers and they're
mhm.
like they get annoyed of me grabbing
Yeah,
their camp, so I'm like, okay, you know what, I won't.
yeah.
But sometimes I know I should, and I don't know at what state of the game is it okay for me to be like, you know what, I'm gonna grab this.
Yeah, well, I guess like objectively for Corki, like the gold is pretty much always better on you. But yeah, like you
Right.
said, like people will get annoyed. My well, like what I normally do is just like if my jungler's on the other side of the map, like my jungler's bot doing red, normally I feel like I can take these, you know. But like let's say your jungler's on blue, I'd probably not take them in front of him. Like you could, but to be honest, it probably is better on you. But I wouldn't, right? Because at the end of the day, solo queue is still emotional simulator or therapy simulator or something. So you gotta, yeah, you
And
gotta
it
kind
has
of appease them.
gotten way more toxic because I
Yeah.
remember it's like I started seriously because I want to seriously again try to get black to plat or diamonds or
Hmm.
somewhere around there. So that's why I'm doing all this. And the game has become very toxic. I have seen it. There's more AFKs and griefers and people just BMing. League's community used to be pretty good before.
I didn't really start playing until like very late season 4, like early season 5. Um,
Yeah. Wow. Same time. Very different ranks.
okay, so let's see here. Okay, so this is probably the first fight of the game that's been like an actual team fight rather than just like someone dying beforehand. So I think like when you're team fighting as Corki, I mean most of the time you just want to like stay behind your team, right? But probably the
Right.
most important thing is to just like think about like threats to you, like and like specific abilities. So stuff would be like, you know, maybe Vlad ult or Rengar ult, Aurelia ult, Morgana Q. You know, like think about which abilities are most threatening and like how you want to position around them. Because I think here, if we're like looking at them, right? Okay, the only person that's nearby that's really threatening to you is this Aurelia. So all you need to be thinking is like, how are you gonna avoid Aurelia's ult? So the fact that like, I think here you could honestly just like W back instantly, or you could just be like further away respecting that, because it doesn't really make sense that you just like, I mean, you're actually lucky that she didn't just kill you, right? I think she actually
She did.
misplayed. Oh, she did kill you? Like,
Yeah, on
let
the
me see.
tower, I believe.
Like, she has another Q. She can just, like, last hit you here instead of going for this guy. And you end up... Oh... Okay, but then you
yeah,
died of
Vlad.
Vlad. But yeah, like, you really don't want to be taking that much damage. I mean, admittedly, like, respecting Rayleigh Flash Ult is sort of difficult. But I think here it's like, okay, you're pretty close to her. You're standing on top of your other carry,
Oh,
and you
yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's like the dream scenario for her, right? So you just need to be
Right.
thinking
Yeah.
like, how are you gonna position around this? And right here, this one's like not too bad because like the Vlad's like over here, the Morgana's dead. I don't know where Rengar is. Like this is the only threatening person on the screen. So the only thing you need to think about is what can Aurelia do to you. And I think here, like
Right.
if you're just like separate from Jen, if you're a bit further back, just poking with R's, or if you're just like thinking about it and maybe you W instantly. Well, actually, it probably doesn't make a difference to be honest if you W instantly or not. But yeah, I think just like really think about that because again, you go. This is like you can carry right now, but having like a random death like that, it's very. It makes the game really volatile, right? Like now they're getting 2 inhibs, your towers are starting to die. It's starting to get pretty scary.
Yeah, this game felt super comfortable. Like I felt like everyone could one-shot me. Rengar can one-shot me, Vlad
Yeah,
can one-shot me,
yeah,
Aurelia can one-shot me. It was just very,
yeah. It's hard because
very
like if you want to
uncomfortable.
build for Vlad, you get like Hex Drinker, right? And then Rengar and Aurelia kill you. And if you
And
want to
then,
build for
yeah,
them, you go GA, and then Vlad just kills you twice. So yeah,
yeah,
no,
it
it's
was
a pretty
freaking,
hard
it
game.
was weird.
Itemize. Have you managed to live here? You have package. Yeah, I like picking up package for if I can base defense. I feel like it's a pretty good reason. Okay, you get all these kills. Yeah, okay, that's solid. You guys come out. Be nice to take the camp, take drag. Nice, you got another camp. Yeah, I like all this. You're getting really fed. I like Morello too. It's good versus Vlad, and the pen is really nice for Corki. So nice that they added pen to that. It's so useless before, but now it's nice.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so here, you don't end up actually getting punished for this, but I would be really careful here. Like, you don't have Flash, and they have Rengar, right? So if you show in a
Oh, that
lane,
walk into the bush.
yeah,
Yeah.
like if you do stuff like this,
Ooh.
or like you walk up far into the lane like this, you're kind of asking for it. Like, I honestly think even if Hecarim's on top of you, you
Yeah.
might just die. And
With
if you
two
die
inhibs
here, the
down.
game
Yeah.
ends, right? Like, it's up to you to survive. So this is, again, it like comes down to, think about those threats to you and like what you're going to do about them. Because like, okay, if I just told you, think about Rengar right now, I guarantee you just like walk back here, I don't think you're going to be doing this. It's actually, you're kind of lucky that you don't just die. Like,
Completely get one shot
you're
here.
really, really lucky. Okay, but this... Okay, now this actually looks good, because you get to this fight, and it looks like all the cooldowns have already been used. Like, Vlad's 1 HP with no ult, Aurelia's 1 HP with no ult, so you can do whatever you want here, and you don't have to be scared of anyone. Yeah, like, I like how you play this. You're just... Yeah, I really like this, is honestly... If you just did this randomly, without thinking about the fact that they've... Well, I guess it's 2 dead. I don't know. I would just be thinking, like, now there's no threats to you. You can play however you want. But if like you said before, that you're really aggressive, and you just do this anyway... I think that'd be kind of bad, Like, you want to have that trigger in your head of, like, okay, they've used stuff. What the fuck was... Oh, my God. Yo, we gotta...
You saw the flash?
Yeah, we gotta see that again. Hold on.
That flash was, yeah, it hurt.
Oh, my God. That's rough. Okay. Sieging.
I think we got a bounty here as well. I actually didn't find out about bounties until I came back. I came back in like December.
Yeah, there's like a lot
for
of them now.
preseason. Yeah.
Yeah, the fact that like, there's objective bounties, player bounties.
Huge comeback potential.
Yeah. And the bounties go so high. Yeah, that would definitely be a wild change. Okay, so she just ends. This time you have flash, so you're probably fine.
I don't know what we're doing here.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I think this is again is like
I
pretty
think drag
easy.
is up soon. I don't know.
Yeah, okay, yeah, drag spawning. I mean, this is all fine. I think normally though, you would want to like push out mid and then come to this. Like it looks weird to be doing this with a wave just sitting here, because it means like if you get kills here, you can't do anything. I guess you could do Baron, but like you won't have a wave to siege or anything. And also, I mean, at this part I think is fine. Like again, you want to kind of be with your team so that you don't get killed by Rengar. I think when you do this though, just like pause again, like tracking the teammates, right? Like a lot of the time in solo queue, your teammates are going to be in the wrong position, but it's still up to you to like play around that, So like here, maybe your team should be with you, But the reality is it doesn't really matter if they should be or shouldn't, because they're just not here. So you gotta like, you know, your teammates aren't here,
Right.
you need to back up and like play behind them. Which you kind of do here. Rengar's takes
Rengar
it
grabbed
in.
the
Yeah, that's
top in
so
here,
annoying. There's not much you can do about that, I feel like.
but he ulted in, yeah.
Okay, so you guys are just like... Oh, Pantheon stole drag. Okay.
Yeah, he got it.
Got the package.
Much we can do here, just defend.
Oh wow, they got that. What the fuck?
Yeah, my team was just hovering. They never really got there.
Oh, okay. I think part of this is you don't have blue trinket. So normally after 20 minutes, you swap to blue trinket just to check barons. Because I think
Oh,
here,
okay.
if you know they're doing it, like for sure, you can just let's see, where are they? You could probably just like package on them when they start it. You know, like let's say you like come here,
Yeah,
you get
because
package.
watch. Yeah, they go to do Baron, which is obvious because
Yeah.
we're not showing.
Yeah,
we
I
go
feel like
up,
if
and
you
then
like,
the Hecarim's like, I don't know.
yeah, everyone's like not really sure. I think if you have blue trinket here to check, like you actually probably can, like maybe you can't fight it because Jin's dead, but you could at least like poke them or something. You know, you could do like a bit more. So I think having the blue trinket would be nice. Yeah, package is fine, I guess.
Got the Aurelio. I think I die here though. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm not too
trying to follow up the Hecarim, but the Rengar showed.
I think probably when I use this package here, I would try like group with the team a bit. Like rather than going across, I'd maybe like try walk a bit this way and then go, you know, so that you end up with Seraphine here, rather than just like, yeah, because that's probably like a tiny bit safer. And then here, yeah, this is kind of annoying because I think Hecarim needs to stay on you, but he just leaves you. I don't think there's much you can do about that. I guess like, why are the items fucked all of a sudden? Why can I not? What the fuck? Okay, I can't see your
I've never
items
seen
anymore.
that before.
Yeah, that is really weird. So I don't know what you're building now, but I think you probably should buy a stopwatch last item so that you can survive Rengar like that. But like maybe you don't have enough gold here. I can't really
I think
see
I
it
went
anymore.
I went Manamune into a Ludens,
Yeah, and then
into a
Hydra.
Tiamat.
Yeah, and then you went
Yeah.
Morello. And then after that, I
And
think
then
maybe you go
Morello.
into stopwatch. But yeah, I mean, I'm
Yeah,
having
I
some
think
items.
I think I actually went Rabadons.
Okay, yeah, I think that's Rabadon's isn't that good on Corki anyway.
Corki?
Well, it's like
Makes
it's good.
sense.
It's good just for the R. I mean, like okay, to be honest, you have 400 AP, so it probably is worth it at this point if they don't have any MR, like, and you don't need a void. But I'd say like generally, it's not the best item. But I mean, like you have 400 AP, so it probably is worth it. But I think the stopwatch is probably safer. Fuck, I keep like trying to look at your items, I just can't.
I've never seen that before.
Yeah, I think it's something to do with like when the replay goes really long, or, like starts freaking out. Like here again, same thing. I'd probably like come do some camps maybe. Like if Hecarim goes for Scuttle, maybe take the wolves. Because like all this time,
Okay.
you're just like spinning around in circles. And like you definitely don't have Rabadons
Right.
yet. So you could use the gold. And like a lot of the time later on in the game, like junglers don't have time to do every camp here, right? Like he ended up skipping Grump, I think. Because he doesn't have time. But like maybe he'd do Grump if you did wolves. So there's definitely ways you guys can be like more efficient with it. Also, again, I think this is like maybe greedy. Looking at your team, I guess
Yeah,
you okay.
again,
You see Rengar, but I mean you see Rengar. You're probably fine, but just be a little careful because you're like pretty far up with no flash again, and like all your team is really far.
Yeah, this game has been just trying to survive this whole time.
Yeah,
But
pretty
I
much.
think
Oh, we didn't kill the inhib. Okay, so that's really lucky. And now you guys can get fourth drag. Wow, that was actually
yeah, we actually got
amazing
Soul.
timing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which I was hoping. Okay, we got Soul. This, you know, this might be a comeback here.
Okay, nice dodge. Yeah, I mean,
Vlad
your
is
team
near,
scales way
pushing mid.
better. Like, Corki Seraphine. It's definitely pretty strong late game. Yeah, here you're just kind of like putting out fires, trying to stay behind your team. Oh yeah, obviously I can't see, but definitely if you don't have blue trinket, like, definitely need it by now for another Baron. You grab package, which is probably fine. Like, you guys can use it to force. So yeah, I like forcing Baron when you have package up. That's like the strongest you're gonna be.
Yeah, I
But,
tried. Yeah, that was my call there, and then it actually worked out pretty well.
okay, so I think this was kind of weird. I like the package engage, but I think the way you use your W's and stuff after is like sort of weird. So remember, like, okay, if we just like pause, our big threats to us right now, probably like Vlad, Rengar, Aurelia. We don't really care about Ezreal and Morg. Like, to be honest, you can probably one-shot both of these. So they're not really a problem, right? So initial package engage, I would say, is great. Now, at this point, Vlad and Aurelia have both committed the fight and Ezreal's dead. So you just like, you need to hit these people, but like try stay away from them, right? So like right here, you could like
Yeah,
either
that
just hit,
W was weird when I W.
yeah,
Yeah.
you can either just hit them, or you could even just turn around and like one shot Morgana if you wanted. Like you would actually just explode her. But like here, you're actually like Wing and flashing into danger, right? Like these are the two dangerous members. If anything, you would want to W and flash away if you needed to. But like here, it just doesn't make sense. You actually like put yourself, yeah, you end up dying. So you should, there is like no universe you should die here. Like after this,
Yeah.
you're like,
My logic was like, okay, I need to get back to my team because I don't know where Rengar is.
yeah, I mean, I can kind of see that, but like
But
the reality is,
it
if
was
Rengar
pretty
goes
bad.
for you, you're dead. Like no matter where you are, probably, right?
Right. Yeah.
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 So this is like you, and plus, if you were going away from Rengar, but you're going into two other threats instead, like that doesn't really make
Very
sense either,
true.
right? Yeah. So I think deaths like this are, I think if you think about like what the team fighting, like just what's important in team fights of like, you know, what the threats are, this one's like really avoidable. Like in the moment, it probably feels like a shit fest because there's like a ton of stuff going on and it's really hard. But if you just boil it down to like, okay, all I really need to think about is like these three, I just need to like stay away from them. I feel like this isn't that hard, right? Like after this, they're actually fucked because they just committed everything and you just,
Right.
like no one will hit you now anymore. You have the
Very
easiest
true.
fight if you just sit here. But then you like, I don't know, you can just end up in the middle of the team like melee range Corki. I think the game probably ends here, by the way, if you don't die. Like I think you could maybe just go down mid and end. So
You're up for a surprise.
ooh, okay.
Yeah. Sadly.
Okay, so we walk out bot. Don't have flash. They just siege down. Okay, they get some kills. Oh my god, no.
Yep.
Oh no. Oh my god, that's the most depressing way to lose a game, especially after like 46 minutes. I swear,
We were coming back into the game and this guy ults our
yeah,
Nexus.
I swear, like even when I'm winning, if it's like a 50-minute game, even if I win, I still feel bad after. So like losing, oh my god, especially like that
Yes.
would freak me
That
out.
was painful. It was painful. Yep.
Okay, but like I guess like overall, so the stuff to work on, I would say. What's the most important thing? I think probably the first one is just to like clean up the early game. So we kind of talked about like all the specifics for that, but like CSing with autos, like trying to push the wave more, you know, potentially changing our item starts, just like trying not to miss as much CS like from basing or like being pushed out of lane and like try not to 1-for-1 so much. So yeah, cleaning up the early game I think should probably be your biggest focus. And then I think package timings as well. Oops, package timings could be big. I think like team fighting, like especially around like threat management slash like positioning, that should be pretty easy. I also think like farming more jungle camps. Try not to like share any golden XP. Um, I'd say like these are definitely the main thing. I mean, admittedly, like these are pretty big. You know, like I've kind of distilled this down to clean up early game, but there's like a lot that goes into that, right? And then like
Right.
team fighting, threats, and positioning, like there's levels to this, right? Like you could have silver level positioning, or you could have like gold level position, or you could have like world class level team fighting, you know. So it's not like anything.
Right.
This is like something that you'll never ever be perfect at. It's not like you fix it and then suddenly you never have to think about it again. But if you put like work into, I guess, work into improving it, you're just gonna find the game to be a lot easier. Like I think your team fighting and your early game, if you fix those, the game will a lot of the time just like play itself out almost. You know, like you're not even gonna really have to do a whole lot. At
Okay.
least that's what it's gonna feel like. But yeah, so I think that's pretty much everything. Do you have any questions about anything on here?
Let me see. Have any specific question? So in that lane, the way that I was managing the wave, I was just trying to freeze it in front of me
Yeah.
instead of obviously once I got 6 or further on when I had enough clear, I was just shoving in and trying to prio.
Hmm.
But at the beginning, was that the right call to just kind of like try to freeze it in front of me?
I would.
Because it's Vlad, I don't want to let him kind of like get that long extended chase against me. Plus, it's Rengar, so let me might as well keep it safe on my side.
I think pre-6 you don't really have much to be scared of. Like Vlad spikes at level 6, and so does Rengar. So like if you're in a if you're in a lane and you're versus like LeBlanc, Lee Sin, like both those champs are strong early. They have good gank set up
Yeah,
early. That's really scary. But I think this game you shouldn't expect to die 1v1 to Vlad at all before level 6, and you shouldn't really get ganked by Rengar pre-6 unless you're like messed up. Now, one thing we didn't talk about is like the ward timings and stuff, because like normally what you do, right, is you find out like which side the enemy jungler starts on, like where they leash. So like here, I mean, we knew they started bot actually because we have a ward. And then like at 2 minutes 30, you just like ward the opposite side. Like you ward up here, and that's going to keep you safe for like most of the early game, right? Like if you have a
oh, okay.
ward here, like let's just say right there, it lasts until about 350. So it'll actually spot Rengar here, and then you'd know where he is anyway. So we probably don't have time to really like go through all that in depth, but if you look at my jungle tracking video, I think like in there's like a section that's just called like method or something like that. Like if you don't want to watch the whole video, I just watch that section because that kind of like goes through all of that and just like how to be safe from jungle ganks early.
Yeah,
Because if you like
that's one
don't
rule
know how
I've
to
never
position,
played.
yeah,
Yeah, I've
okay,
never played jungle, so I don't understand at all how they rotate and
yeah,
where they go after this and that. So that's one thing I will say I have zero knowledge on is jungling.
yeah, okay. I
So
think it's actually like a lot simpler than you think. Like if you just go, I mean, I'll just link this to you. I'll put it at the bottom of this. If you just like go to this video and you go to this and you go method here, I don't know how long this section is. How long is it? It's like 4 minutes long. If you just watch that part, that should give you like a pretty good understanding of just like the basics. And like if you want to go further with it, you can. But to be honest, like that'll get you 90% of the way there.
okay.
All right. Well, I'll copy this all to you on Discord. And I will upload the session and link it to you. Do you mind if it's public or you prefer it to private?
No problem if it's
Okay.
public. Yeah.
Yeah, sweet. And then, yeah, on our next session, we can do a live game, which should be good. Did I accept the
Yeah,
session? Yeah, I did.
hopefully,
Okay.
hopefully, because I have a problem where, like, so usually I take games like I used to take games super serious, and I would do like everything that I could, even saying like, "Oh, good job, team,"
Yeah,
trying to be
yeah.
like morale freaking officer and stuff like that. But now I've kind of like switched into a more like I just want to have more fun because I kind of would ruin my fun back
Yeah,
then when I
right.
would take it too serious. And sometimes I get bored. And I'm like, you know what? I want to play this. So what do you think about like obviously the champion pool? You already said it should be kind of smaller,
Yeah.
but I feel like it sometimes gets boring. Example, like I can play Zed and 80 or 90% of the time I destroy my laner.
Hmm.
And it's because I just have so much experience. With Corki, not that much. But it just gets repetitive. Like what can you do sometimes to kind of like get rid of that repetitiveness? Because
Um,
I think I've seen you play a lot of like
yeah.
LeBlanc. I know you like I was seeing you play good amount of Zoe and stuff like that. How do you get out of, that
Ye-
repetitiveness?
Yeah, I guess like, well, the first thing is like the reason people recommend keeping your champion pool small is so it's like easier to learn the game, right? Because you don't have to worry about like learning the champs at the same time. So
Right.
like you can play more champs. It's just like bear in mind that if they're like difficult champs or you don't feel like you know how to play them, it's like an extra level of difficulty on top. But like it's not just always bad to play more champs, right? But in terms of like actually just keeping it fresh, I guess, like you can always rotate some champs in for fun. You can like play on a Smurf, you can play normals, or you can just play like a different game completely. Like I play a lot of games that aren't League as well, so
Right.
like yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's kind of more up to you to find out how to keep it fresh. If the only way you can keep it fresh is by playing more champs, well then you should still do that, right? Like it's better to play more champs and not end up quitting the game because it's not fun, right? Like you don't want that
Right.
to happen.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. That's kind of my
And
thoughts on it.
what would be your opinion on, so if I have a laner and this laner has an obvious counter, like, oh, it's this guy, okay, I'll definitely go this. But I don't have that much experience. Like I obviously know, like I know all the characters' abilities in the game,
Hmm.
but just like you said, like learning the character isn't just learning the abilities, I feel. It's
Yeah,
more about understanding the character more in depth, like
yeah,
when does he
yeah.
get the spike and all this stuff. So like would you still recommend, like if this is an obvious counter which is gonna destroy this character, would I still have should I still pick it, or should I still go for something that I'm more comfortable with instead of
Um,
going for this obvious counter?
I would say like if like let's say you have a you could pick a champ that's like a super hard counter and just like destroy them. I think if you have a champ in your champion pool already that's like a soft counter to it, I'd probably still pick that. Like let's say, I don't know, like Renekton is the best versus this champ, but Zed is still pretty good against them. I would still just go Zed. But like if it's the difference
Okay.
between, you know, Renekton's the best champ against this, and everything else I have is useless, then I would just like lock in Renekton, right? Like
Oh, okay.
I wouldn't just like in my pick to have like an awful matchup and then just, you know, kind of play better. I would try like get the best counter that I'm comfortable. You know, like I don't normally just
Okay.
pick champs that I've never played before, but like if I really couldn't find something in my champion pool, I'd probably try out something new. But also that might tell you maybe that you have like a hole in your champion pool, right? Because like a lot of people say they play like four assassins. And so the problem is when they need like a mage to beat that champion, they don't have any, right? Because like having a champion pool, especially at the higher level, if you can play like 20 mages, it's not as useful as if you can play, say, two mages, two assassins, two fighters, etc. You know, because like there's like a lot of overlap. So your champion
Right.
pool, I feel like has like a fair amount of diversity, so it's probably not a big deal for you. Like
Yeah,
you
this
should be
was
able to find
my
counters enough, I would say.
this was the list that I currently kind of like have on my side.
Yeah, like I think you should be able to find a counter to pretty much every champ, or at least like a soft counter through those.
Mm,
Like I don't think
okay.
you really need to deviate from those. And even then, I would like mostly try keep that small. Like I feel like most times you pick Yone, you can probably pick Zed as well, or like Tristana. You know, like I think for example, like where's an example? Like Quinn and Tristana have a lot of overlap. So most times you pick Quinn, you could probably just play Trist anyway, or you know, you can
Right.
play Quinn. I think like LeBlanc and TF in a way like have quite a lot of overlap because they both kind of like gank set up mids. I guess the difference is like one has mobility and one doesn't, so they're kind of different. LeBlanc and Ari though, definitely a lot of overlap. Like those champs are extremely similar in terms of how they play. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, I feel like you can take some out and still end up with a mostly counter or champ. Like I think if you played something like I don't know, Corki, Trist, Zed, LB, that covers like most of your bases. And then if you want to like add one or two more when it's like the perfect games for them, you can. I would try just like stick to those four.
To those four. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. And then Echo, I feel like is not even.
Yeah, he's not very good right
He's
now. Probably because like Akali
yeah,
and Silas are just better, pretty much. There's not much reason to play Echo.
yeah, yeah. Sadly,
Yeah, he's fun.
right. But yeah, I'll be hoping for. I'll waiting for the next session.
Yeah,
I really want
definitely.
a live one. Hopefully, I can pull out my either Trist or Zed.
Yeah,
Those
okay.
are my strongest two. Zed would be fun. Because that I play him a lot, so I feel like if I get a review of the gameplay of me playing Zed, it would impact me the most because he's the one that I kind of try to play the most all the time.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's pretty much everything. And I'll upload the session. And if you have other questions later, like after watching the session, or just if you think of them, you can obviously just like message me whenever.
Okay.
But yeah, otherwise, I guess we'll just go on the next session.
All right, thank you very much. So the 19th, I believe. Let me
Yeah, should
verify.
be the 20th for me, I think. Yeah, 19th for you, 20th for me.
Oh, you're from.
Yeah, different country.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
Puerto
fine.
Rico here.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Some people don't even know where Puerto Rico is.
Well, it happens. I'm from New Zealand,
Yeah.
and a lot of people don't even know that exists, so yeah.
Well, I drink a lot of wine. New Zealand has beautiful
Oh,
wine,
okay,
so
there we go.
shout out.
All
All
right,
right.
sweet.
Well, thank you very much.
All
Have a
good.
good night.
Yeah, you too. See you later.
See you.